Cocaine, crack, and dozens of suspected gang members rounded up in one of Denver's largest drug busts in a decade.
It's just so selfish. It's like, why would you do that?
The ways people are disguising their pets as service animals and taking advantage of the system.
My daughter is so strong, and she's gonna make this.
Her daughter is in critical condition after being hit by a car that crashed into a store. She talks about her little girl and the support for her.
Sports Authority stores closed since the bankruptcy are starting to get a new lease on life.
Even a trained expert couldn't detect the problem before a buildup of natural gas destroyed a home in Firestone.
Now there are new inspections being ordered and a statewide review to see if other gas lines pose that same danger.
Authorities on the local, state, and federal levels made one of the city's biggest drug busts in years last night and today. They say many drug deals were happening in parks as well as a light rail station where police caught them on camera. 9 News reporter Anusha Roy joins us now. And Anusha, these drug deals were happening right out there in the open.
Yeah, they were near parks, inside parks, many of them going down near the 25th and Welton Light Rail Station in the Five Points neighborhood, as well as the Curtis Park neighborhood. In all, 52 people have been indicted from the investigation that has lasted for more than a year now. 35 people have been arrested as of earlier today, with investigators still looking for 17 more suspects. Investigators say a gang was involved in open-air drug markets, and that included selling powder cocaine and crack cocaine, saying that a lot of these people are not low-level offenders. One of the suspects was previously convicted of attempted murder. Others have drug trafficking on their records. Several were on parole. 225 officers were involved in this bust, and today they said they seized $80,000 in cash, a Hummer, a Denali, and some cocaine.
The whole service dog industry is not regular.
Anybody can get paperwork too.
It's a free-for-all.
It's just so selfish. It's like, why would you do that?
Sergeant Mike Garvey is angry.
I have a giant 18-inch scar going down my stomach, and I have bullet holes.
The Marine Corps veteran was shot twice in Afghanistan, and now he has to go to extremes just to prove Liberty is his legitimate service dog. There is no national registry for service animals, but scam artists online sell fraudulent certification, ID cards, and vests. A trained service dog would never bark in public except on command, be aggressive toward other dogs or people, eat off a table in a restaurant, ride in a shopping cart, or be dressed in an unprofessional manner. The imposters make life difficult for those who rely on service dogs.
So the girls are the Walmart shoppers today.
Ask anyone who needs a service dog, and you'll learn there is nothing cute about bringing pets into places they don't belong.
Two gatherings, both a show of support and strength tonight for a young girl who was badly hurt over the weekend. 12-year-old Riley Guntensberger was one of 7 people hurt when a driver apparently had a medical issue and crashed into the RNK running store in Parker. Riley is in critical condition at Children's Hospital.
My daughter is so strong.
Sad and somber, she came looking for assurance.
She has a long road ahead of her.
But it was in this community's very presence,
And we're taking things moment by moment,
that Riley Guntensberger's mom, Megan, found it.
These are the words she wrote. I am a fighter. I will stand strong. I will stumble and fall, but never give up.
Hundreds came to offer her family a familiar face when they needed it. A familiar sound, only 10 miles down the road.
We want to help no matter what. And one of our own in the running community, it's an obvious thing to do.
When RNK owner Jim Browning saw what happened in his shop on Saturday, he knew he had to help.
Honestly, it's just the right thing to do.
So when he put out the call to organize a community run.
Right now, Riley and her family need the support.
Support came running.
Riley's hurt, and I want to see her run another 1,000,000 miles in her life.
Leave it to this community.
It means so much to know that so many people care so deeply.
To give this family the assurance it needs.
My daughter is so strong, and she's gonna make this.
The reason we didn't see Riley's mom is out of respect. We kept the cameras kind of back out of respect for the family.
Yeah, so we weren't even sure if Riley's mother, Megan, would show up this evening. She said that she wants privacy completely, understandably, in this situation. But they kept us at a distance, still very accommodating, and they said that they will update their Facebook page with any developments in Riley's condition.
All right, a lot of people pulling for her. Thanks a lot.
Tonight, more real talk about Colorado, the place we adore, despite its imperfections. Last night, we heard from a man born and raised here who just moved his family to Iowa, where he says he can afford to raise his family. Well, tonight, another perspective from another native, a woman named Megan McGuire. She posted on our Facebook page, "I love you, Colorado, but all of the elitist natives telling people they don't deserve to be here just because they were born somewhere else." Megan was born in Boulder. She's never lived outside the bounds of our states, and she has some thoughts about her fellow natives.
Colorado has changed a lot in my 32 years here, but I don't think change is a bad thing. I've met so many interesting people who contribute a lot to the state who have relocated here from somewhere else. I am a Colorado native. I'm a 5th generation Coloradan. How I phrased it, I love you, Colorado, except for, can I read it that way? Or okay. I love you, Colorado, except for all the elitist natives telling people they don't deserve to be here just because they were born elsewhere. You're giving all of us natives a bad reputation. You really don't have a right to be mean to somebody else just because of where they're from. What really bothers me is when people find out I'm a native and tell me that they think all natives are assholes. My mom told me not to swear on the news. They get on their soapbox and tell everyone who wasn't born here that they have no right to be here. I mean, if you ever read the comments on any kind of news story, there's always a debate over, you know, what's Colorado and what's ruining Colorado, and everyone seems to have an opinion, and it seems like mine is, even though it's a minority opinion, I still feel like I have a right to voice it. It's the content of your character rather than the location of your birth.
We want to hear your take. Natives and transplants alike, how would you finish the sentence? I love you, Colorado, but...
It has been a year since Sports Authority announced it would close all its stores. Today we learned the future of its former headquarters in Inglewood. A fitness company plans to turn the building into a 52,000 square foot gym, claiming it will be the largest in the country. A larger version of this gym in Golden. So what happens to the other vacant Sports Authority locations? It's a question with no easy answer. Here's 9 News reporter Anusha Roy.
Among more than a dozen former Sports Authority buildings in and around Denver, one mystery is solved.
A little bit higher?
Thanks to a climbing gym coming to Inglewood.
Imagine this, almost twice the size.
It's rekindling curiosity about what else may be coming. Nearly 2 weeks ago, the city of Greenwood Village teased something is in the works. Today, a spokeswoman would only say a retail business is moving in, but the deal isn't done. To the north, the Cherry Creek location is now a Charlie's T-shirts, while inside the Colorado Mills Mall in Lakewood, the competition took over when Dick's Sporting Goods moved in. And then there is the iconic Sports Castle on Broadway.
Yeah, I'm not surprised that we're a year out and the stores are still mostly unleased.
The Denver Business Journal says it's owned by the Gart companies, controlled by the well-known Gart family, which is looking into development opportunities as well as a historic designation.
I mean, they can't tear it down or make really drastic changes to the exterior.
There were 27 Colorado properties on a bankruptcy auction list, one of them close to 80,000 square feet.
And very few retailers want that much space, particularly in the retail climate as it exists right now. I mean, we've been seeing stories for the last 2 or 3 months about one retail after the next, closing stores or filing for bankruptcy.
Fitness centers could fill that kind of space, but there probably aren't enough new gym ventures to fill dozens of properties.
The governor is now calling for a statewide review of oil and gas operations after the cause of a house explosion was announced this afternoon. That explosion in Firestone. It killed 2 men and injured a woman. Investigators say it was caused by an abandoned gas line that had never been disconnected from a nearby well. The governor is also telling gas operators to inspect lines near occupied buildings to make sure they are indeed capped. Fire investigators say methane and propane were leaking into the home for months. 9 News reporter Jessica O has been in Firestone all day, where investigators say that neighbors are not in danger.
Investigators say this has been a complex and intense investigation over the past couple of weeks as they're working to figure out what exactly caused this home to explode. Investigators also were saying it's been heartbreaking, as well as many of the first responders and investigators were close friends with one of the victims of the explosion, Mark Martinez. There is an oil and gas well that sits roughly 178 feet behind this home. It's owned by Anadarko Petroleum. That company told us that well had been shut in, meaning it wasn't being used until January when they turned on the oil and gas line. But here's what investigators say happened. They say somebody accidentally also turned on 2 abandoned lines that run under the Martinez home, and one of them had been spewing unrefined gas into the soil, which then got into the basement through the sump pump. Investigators say there was such a buildup of gas by this point that anything could have sparked the explosion, as Joey Irwin and Mark Martinez were working on the water heater that day. Anadarko says it last inspected the well at this home in 2014. Despite the fact that the abandoned lines are connected to the well, investigators say they are not sure who maintains it. Anadarko did voluntarily shut down 3,000 wells temporarily in this vicinity, just out of an abundance of caution and just to make sure that everything is safe. Investigators have said there is no environmental threat, no public safety threat because of these wells. They say that's because the abandoned lines specifically run under the Martinez home, which is why they believe the community is not at risk. In Firestone, Jessica O, 9 News.
The gas that seeped into the home was unrefined, non-odorized gas. Gas companies actually add an odor to natural gas so it can be detected. It typically smells like rotten eggs or sulfur. According to Excel, there are ways to detect a natural gas leak. Aside from that smell, you could hear a hissing noise or see dust or debris getting pushed around. It can also cause a spot of dead or discolored grass or vegetation in an otherwise green area. If a large amount of natural gas is leaking, oxygen can be reduced, causing dizziness, fatigue, confusion, and nausea.